Okay, hi, we're Samuel and we're both freshers. Before we start, I just want to say if you've not read our manifesto yet, then before you go, we'll have a quick read of it to see what we're about.
Yeah, so Sam and I both really love freshers and got involved with it this year, and so we'd really be interested in trying to make it as good or even better next year. We want to highlight just 3 main themes as what we want to focus on and why you should vote for us. So firstly, we'd like to organise a range of evening options that appeal to a wide range of people. We understand that heavy nights at Cindy's and Lola's don't appeal to everyone, but also we don't just want to kind of make events that are for people who drink and who don't drink. We'd quite like to integrate these together. So we thought it would be quite nice to have kind of like events that people could drink out if they want to, but it's not essential, and then if they want they can go out after. So we thought about a music night in the college bar and how people could get involved and perform if they'd like to. And we also thought this would be a good opportunity for second and third years to get involved. There's one thing that we said really was good was speaking to second and third years about their current experience, and so we definitely wanted to make that important. We'd like to offer a range of daytime opportunities, as one thing that we thought was really lacking kind of this year was for the different staircases to mix. So we thought of kind of doing daytime activities in a relaxed environment where Em and I can like mix into staircases, so you don't just get to know the people in your corridor, but also kind of within the staircases and get to know the whole year as well.
Okay, well, the events are going to be great, but we feel like as freshers reps, the most important thing is just being a friendly face. Just feel like Selwyn College reputation is such a friendly thing, and we feel that we just want to walk around it. On the way to Hawk, we see a fresher, we ask how they're doing, we take an interest in every fresher, not just the ones that we've seen on a night out or we've become friends with. Like, we want to be someone that, not in Freshers Week, but any time you can just come to us and just talk to us about anything. And the college friendliness is just something we really need to just keep telling everyone as much as possible. We're going to get to know all of them, well, we try to get to know as many as possible. It's probably not going to happen, but just kind of integrate as much as possible, basically. That's what it's mainly about, not the events, the people.
Hi, I'm Ollie and I'm running with Amber to be Selwyn's Freshers Rep for next year. Unfortunately, she's got a family commitment, so she couldn't be here, so I'm by myself. Tom and Ruth gave us a great Freshers Week last year, which really made us feel at home in Selwyn, and we want to make sure that next year's Freshers have the same experience and to keep Selwyn's reputation as being the friendliest still college in Cambridge. So we promised to make the Freshers feel as welcome as possible, whilst also organising a great week for them. So what will we do? First, we want to make the week as inclusive as possible. We know how scary starting uni can be, so we want to make the freshers feel as comfortable as possible in their new home, whilst getting to know everyone and making new friends. We know dancing to Lion King and Cindy's isn't for everyone, so we'll make sure there are alternative options every night of the week for staying in, so like the board game night and movie nights. And on the last Saturday of Freshers Week, we want to hire out the Diamond and do a whole year movie night in there, because no one really goes out on a Saturday. Secondly, college families are a really important part of college life. So we want to organise family punting trips in the first week, where you'll go down the River Cam, with your college family, get to know them. And the college questionnaire also was a really good way of allocating your parents. But we also want second years to fill out a short questionnaire as well, to make sure that the families are allocated as well as possible. On top of this, we want to get sponsorship for the Freshers Guide. So I reckon Domino's would be willing to cough up a couple of quid, which we can use then to fund events around Selwyn or buy popcorn and drinks for the movie night in the Diamond. And we also want to get matriculation hoodies, so everyone will have all the names of all the freshers on their back. And if you get 150 of them, you can probably get them pretty cheap. We realise that being a FREP isn't just for Freshers Week, and we promise to be an effective voice on the JCR for all of the freshers. And we'll organise events throughout the year, so inter-year swaps, club trips and that kind of thing. So what experience do we have? Amber and I have both organised big events at our old schools, and my gap year are also involved organising quite a lot of events. So we think we'd be perfectly suited to organising a really good Freshers Week. Speaking to Tom and Ruth, we know how much organisation is involved in having Freshers Week. And from liaising with the dean to big fish ends and navigating the myriad of red tape the college decides to put in the way of having organised fun. So we promise battle on behalf of the freshers to make sure that the Freshers Week is as awesome as possible. And we also want to make sure that the last couple of weeks of our summer holidays are pretty empty, so we can spend as much time as possible organising the Freshers Week. So yeah, please vote for us.
We'll start with our last 2 years ago fresh trip, or we yeah, so obviously you very kind of touched upon the kind of evening events you do, and the day which you mentioned, we're very heavily kind of focused on outdoor things, so punting, blah blah. I know for the Freshers Week I was running, I too had all these grand plans of outdoor activities, and it just absolutely tipped it down the entire week. And so what would you do as an indoor activity in the daytime with 150 people.
Well, for instance, we could take them to sort of the University Sports Centre. We've not been there at all, or like the Union, just sort of take them around Cambridge more, experience things that aren't just in Selwyn. Because I feel like, especially with sort of events here, you feel like you're confined to JCR, confined to the Diamond, like sort of spread it out and get people going to different places and experiencing different things, not just staying in your college at Freshers Week.
Also, it might be quite nice to work with the other kind of JCR committee members, like improving JCR, so then making the use of that space if it's been improved. And also then that will encourage the freshers to use that later on in the year, so yeah, that might be a good one.
Yeah, I agree. So whenever we're doing the plan for Freshers Week, I think we should always have like plan B, what happens if it is raining? Because yeah, hunting in the rain isn't really the best way to spend your time. So I think reusing the JCR would be a really good idea. The other thing is really underutilised during Freshers Week. I know there were second years in here throughout the whole week, but I never really felt like if you came here there'd be many other freshers. So I mean, like having this as like a central hub and always like a backup option in case something happens. We can have movies on, there's like tennis table, pool, ping pong, that kind of thing. So I think even the JCR is a really good backup option.
So a big issue when I did Freshers Week was fresher participation in every event. So we'd have events where like everyone would come. It was really good fun. And then we'd also come down and literally it would be the Freshers Committee playing board games with each other. How would you tackle that and make sure you get good attendance and good engagement with your week from everybody?
Sure, so I think physical activities are always a good way to get everyone involved. So I think the sports day idea that we had from Keir was a really good idea, and that was a really great way for everyone to get to know each other. And so we want to continue that next year. Yeah. And then also I think if you can have fresher involvement, it also helps to increase, the number of people who turn up. So I think in the build-up to Freshers Week, using the Freshers Facebook page to say like, what would you want to do with your Freshers Week? Do you want to have a board game night, or would you prefer movies, or do you want a face mask night, or that kind of thing? And if you get like the feedback from the freshers before the event actually happens, then it means you can probably increase the number of them that turn out.
Yeah, so like we said, we quite like to make events, because I think there was, speaking to freshers this year, there was quite a lot of stigma with the kind of non-drinking events. They just feel like boring, sitting with second year. So I think trying to get everyone integrated and involved. So again, with Ollie, kind of with the build-up to it, putting on the Facebook page, this is what we've got on, and trying to get people together as well.
Yeah, and also like some freshers won't necessarily feel comfortable going to an event that everyone is going to. So potentially having maybe 2 or 3 smaller events in the daytime, so they can just integrate people without worrying about having to sort of mix with those people, because not everyone's the same, not everyone wants to get to know each other, and sometimes you feel like you just want a group of friends first before you sort of throw yourself out into college.
I was just going to say, obviously you guys know you get established with the college family when you start here, and you get like letters from your parents and stuff, and then you have family form in the first term. But then I think a lot of people feel like the family support system does break down a bit. You kind of lose touch with your parents. You don't really know your grandparents that well. Firstly, do you think the college family system is something that is really important as opposed to other like avenues of fresher support? And secondly, what would you do to try and like perpetuate it later on in the year?
So I think for both of us, the college family system worked really well, and our college parents really good next term. And we kind of thought that we'd have an idea of kind of doing a college family quiz, so that could even be in week 5, kind of trying to get over that stigma of week 5 blues, and just trying to uphold that. And I know like some parents this year gave their college children chocolate and stuff in week 5, so kind of trying to implement that across second year would be a really good idea, to maintain that relationship.
Yeah, similar thing. So I think having as much interaction with your college parents in the first week is usually a good way to make sure you stay in contact with them later. So the family punting trip and then also the family pop was a really good idea. It was a great way if you go to pre's at your college parents' like room, you could get to know them well. I think then also agree with like a focus on week 5. So to get rid of the week 5 blues, you could possibly do another family bop then. And it's just the right amount of time to get, if you haven't really spoken to your college parents that much, a great way to get back in contact with them. And also having family formals as well. That could be another thing that you could do again in week 5, halfway through the term, to recontact your parents if you haven't seen them that much.
That's everything.